Wake up, Mam Fam, we're rope dropping Disneyland. Hello, Mam Fam, and welcome to the happiest place on earth. I am in Disneyland Park, and I rope dropped this morning. We are continuing that rope drop series out here on the West Coast and in the original Disney park. If you're not familiar, rope drop is a theme park term for getting to the park before it opens to take advantage of low crowds and low wait times. And y'all, in true Disneyland fashion, there was actually a rope that dropped this morning. That's where the name comes from. There used to always be a rope and then it would drop at the time the park opened. And there isn't always an actual rope now, though the verbiage continues with theme park enthusiasts. But here at Disneyland, the OG, there really was a rope and I love to see it. Anyway, let's back it up to this morning before the park even opened so I can show you how this morning went. Captain's log, 7:28 a.m. Leaving the Grand Californian to go to Disneyland, the OG park. Very excited. Now it's a little bit further from the hotel to Disneyland versus Disney California Adventure, but like by just a few minutes, because still the beauty of being at Disneyland is that you're so close to everything. So when I say a little bit further, I mean versus like a 90-second walk, I mean like a 5 to 6 minute walk. Captain's log, 7:32. We have entered downtown Disney. Now, if you're staying at the Grand Californian, there's an entrance directly into DCA, but for Disneyland Park, you're gonna go through your own security, which is amazing, and then pop into downtown Disney, which will be a quick, short jaunt to the front of Disneyland. Quick shout again to our friends at Be Our Guest Vacations for booking our room. This is not a sponsored video, but when I was stressed about a lot of upcoming travel, I reached out to them, and you know it's better than booking your own vacation, having someone else book it for you for free. And when I say for free, I mean their services, you don't pay anything extra for it, and they can help you figure out the best places to stay and get you the best deals. And one of my all-time favorite things about coming to Disneyland versus Walt Disney World is how close everything is. Like literally, there's my hotel right there. I can see into a theme park from it. Not only that, the two parks are right across the street from each other. And it's just like the most refreshing thing as opposed to being in Walt Disney World where everything is so big and it takes a long time to get in between all the parks. It's nice to just kind of be in this little bubble. 7:34, made it to the front of the gates. And obviously, it's a little more hectic here at Disneyland than it was when we rope dropped California Adventure. Think rope dropping Animal Kingdom or Epcot compared to rope dropping Magic Kingdom. But they're moving and grooving. They're working people in. The turnstiles are open. So, as always, pack those patient pants. Have your ticket pulled up, ready to scan. Also, keep your eyeballs open at the lines because people tend to just jump in the first line they see, but if you look around and kind of go towards the middle, you may actually find a much shorter line. 7:39, we've made it inside Disneyland, the happiest place on earth. Here we are. Now the park opens at 8 today, so in the park 20 minutes before the park opens. And if you are a morning person or are able to get out of your bed earlier on vacation, I'd get here a little bit earlier if your goal is to hit some of the heavy hitter e-ticket attractions like Indiana Jones or Space Mountain. We're doing something a little bit different today. So there's a congregation of people trying to go into Adventureland. Those people are headed to Indiana Jones Adventure. Slow pan over here. There's also a group of people trying to go into Tomorrowland. I'm thinking Hyperspace Mountain, which is the Star Wars overlay on Space Mountain that's happening right now. And then everybody else pretty much is split between these different middle hub areas. Some people right here in the middle in front of the partner statue. Big group of people right here kind of on the Frontierland side. And then a smaller group of people over on the Tomorrowland side. The other popular attractions that you could try and rope drop, a lot of people go for Peter Pan's Flight. A lot of people go for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. And while in Disney World and Universal Orlando and even DCA, I went for a heavy hitter e-ticket attraction. It's not what I'm gonna do in Disneyland. You see, Disneyland doesn't have Genie Plus. This park specifically doesn't have Genie Plus at a ton of attractions just because they don't have the space for an additional queue. And a lot of my favorite Disneyland rides don't have Genie Plus. So my plan for Disneyland is to try and knock out several of the smaller attractions that don't take Genie Plus that are gonna get 30, 45 plus minute waits throughout the day so that I'm not waiting in those lines, and all the while I can be stacking lightning lanes at some of those heavy hitters. As a friendly reminder, you can book Genie Plus in Disneyland once you get into the park. So walking down Main Street, went ahead and booked Genie Plus, went ahead and booked my first lightning lane over at Hyperspace Mountain. So that's the way I would plan to do Disneyland. I'm gonna buy Genie Plus when I'm here just because I'm visiting from out of town, and I'm gonna stack other heavy hitter attractions both here and at DCA throughout the day, and spend my morning knocking out again some of the smaller like Fantasyland attractions that don't have Genie. I should note as a pro tip, Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, which is the fancy ride in this park, doesn't always open at the same time the park does. Like today the park opens at 8, that doesn't open till 9. So you could kind of double rope drop, like you could knock out a couple things and then go over to Galaxy's Edge if that's important to you and you didn't want to pay that fancy ride cost. And we're off. Look at this. Okay, they said don't run. So what do we do, friends? We don't run, because cool kids follow the rules. Now we're headed to Fantasyland, and I'm gonna check on Peter Pan's flight. If we can get in there pretty quick, I might do Peter Pan's flight, but it's almost the same as the one at Walt Disney World, so if it gets too busy, I'm moving on. Made it into the Peter Pan queue, and it's not even full yet, so I think this is gonna take just a few minutes. Peter Pan's flight, opening day ride here too, and y'all, it's just a banger. People love Peter Pan's flight no matter which coast you're on, and on this coast there's no Genie Plus. So if you or your kids need to sail off to Neverland, this is an excellent first choice to rope drop, because just like in Magic Kingdom, this bad boy's gonna get a 60-minute wait very quickly. Peter Pan's flight is a quintessential family dark ride, no height requirement, where you're gonna board a pirate ship and sail over Neverland. And it's just like nostalgia in an attraction between the music and the ride vehicle. It's just reminds me of childhood. But I rarely ride it on this coast because there's no Genie Plus.
How many here?
Nana! Oh, Nana.
Come on, everybody, here we go!
There it is, Wendy. Second star to the right and straight on.
Well, that was great. In and off Peter Pan within 12 minutes. It now already has a full queue. My guess now is that queue's at least 30 or 45 minutes. And as someone who doesn't often ride Peter Pan's flight in Disneyland, just because we have it in Walt Disney World, I forgot how different it is. Not only is it not an Omnimover system, you stop and load the cars like all the other little Fantasyland rides around here, but a lot of the scenes are different. Like, you actually get to sail over Neverland and see the rainbow. Also, there's this really cool hidden Mickey that I thought I just could never find in Walt Disney World, but really it's just here in Disneyland, and it's in Big Ben. If you look, Mickey's hanging out there, maybe also gonna head to Neverland. So happy to have done that, checked that one off, and now headed to the second most popular of these very small quintessential Fantasyland style dark rides, Alice in Wonderland. This one often has a 45+ minute wait, also no Genie Plus, so gonna head this way because things are getting a little curiouser and curiouser. Sorry, I got distracted because Captain Hook was out, as was Mary Poppins and Bert, so that's a magical surprise. I was just in Neverland. I saw you there. Yes. Yeah, you were there. I saw that the crocodile was coming for you. I know. I'm so sorry about that. I'm sorry to bring it up, but, you know, Peter Pan deserves it. Fed your hand to a crocodile. You got to get him. Yeah. I'll keep a lookout. If I see him, I'll let you know. Okay, perfect. Alice in Wonderland, again, another classic style dark ride, but I do love this one because they have updated it over the years. There was a version of this attraction that opened pretty soon after opening date. The park opened in 1955, and they had a version that opened up in 1958. That version closed in the early 80s and then reopened in 1984, and that's the version that we have now. But what I love about this version of Alice in Wonderland is that it went under a major refurbishment in 2014. So it still has that very nostalgic, classic Disneyland feel, but it's got some updated elements of technology that make it feel new and revived, similar to Snow White's Enchanted Wish, and it's really, really cute. And we don't have anything like it at Walt Disney World, so a must-do for me while I'm here.
All of a sudden, I fell. Down, down, down.
Oh, looking for the white rabbit? Wow. See for yourself.
What is this? Oh, Mr. Rabbit. Wait.
Oh.
not sure where I am either.
Wait! Don't go, please!
Since this is the 4-3 club, we're making the roses red.
Don't tell the queen what you have seen!
Or say that's what we said.
Shall we play croquet?
Rule 42. The queen always wins.
On and off Alice in Wonderland in like 12 minutes, and now headed to another very unique Disneyland experience, the Storybook Land Canal Boats. The Storybook Land Canal Boats are an opening day ride here at Disneyland, July 17th, 1955. And again, they're so unique compared to anything that we have in Walt Disney World, which is why I love them. It's another no hire requirement. Anybody can enjoy this one, and you're gonna board a tiny little boat, and you are gonna head into the mouth of Monstro, because everything in Fantasyland is a little bit of a nightmare. And on the other side, you're gonna be in Storybook Land, where there are miniature versions of places you've seen in your favorite Disney movies. And they have updated it over time, so you're gonna see OG places like Toad Hall, but you're gonna see newer places like Arendelle, and your wonderful storyteller is gonna tell you some of the tales. And it's just really cute and quaint, and everything I love about this park. This one will get a longer line because there's a very slow load and unload process. So this is another good one to knock out in the morning, because like all these, it doesn't take Genie Plus. Now, one thing I want to talk about is if you are trying to stack lightning lanes, most likely whatever you booked first thing in the morning when you got into the park wasn't 2 hours away, and that's the key to stacking lightning lanes. So I've been slowly modifying my attraction all morning. So I booked Hyperspace Mountain. When I first booked it, it was like 8:05. Then I got it to 8:35. Now I'm going to see how far out I can get it. 9:50, great. I'm just gonna keep moving it back all day. Not all day, but as long as I need until it's where I want it. Additionally, keep your eye on this little blue thing right here. It's gonna be your best friend. It's gonna tell you when you can book your next lightning lane. As a friendly, quick Genie Plus reminder, you can book your next one either A, after you've used the first one, B, if it expires because you forgot to use it for some reason, or C, after it's been 2 hours. And only now is it more than 2 hours from when I first booked it. So it changed it to now the 2 hour rule is in play, and now I can book my next one at 9:46. So I'm gonna set an alarm for that time, and I'm probably gonna book Indiana Jones Adventure. And speaking of Indiana Jones Adventure, it just opened. It did not open on time with the park. When I was in line at Alice in Wonderland, it was closed. So be wary if you try and rope drop Indiana Jones that could happen.
And storyteller aboard the SS Snow White. For your safety, we please ask that you remain seated, keeping those hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the boat and show whale. We're actually being transported. Now, just around the corner, our next story takes place into Wonderland. And things became curiouser. Another place where street rat named Aladdin first met the Princess Jasmine in the marketplace and stole her heart. Let's make a wish now and see if it comes true.
Baby geese!
The cozy cottage on our right is the home to the seven dwarves who took in Snow White for her kindness when she was trying to feed that evil queen. On our left, Cinderella had wished to go to the ball. The flowers on our left, inspired by the 1933 entity here in Storybook Land, is magical. Even these miniature trees that you see here, Anna, Olaf, Kristoff, and Sven, and Elsa's Ice Palace in Atwish. And just behind that waterfall is where Ariel came up from under the sea.
Such a cute attraction. Also, you get to go by the patchwork quilt looking plant section, and that was said to be Walt Disney's favorite thing in the park. So that always hits me in the feels, being in the original park, the only one Walt actually went to. And it's just, again, if you're a Disney World person, try and ride this. It's not a big e-ticket, but it's just so unique and so cute. Also, I don't think it could ever happen in Disney World because at the end, you have to all stand up at the same time on the count of 3 from the cast member, otherwise the boat will flip. And I don't think people in Disney World would listen. Also, cute little thing I noticed, that our boat was called the Snow White, and so I asked the cast members if all the boats are different characters or movies or what the boats were named after, and they said all the boats are actually named after female characters because boats are females. And now, you know, seeing a tiny version of Toad Hall was good, but I think we need to really go to hell for a second. For legal reasons, I cannot advise drinking every time I say No Genie Plus, quintessential Fantasyland family ride, but that's also what Mr. Toad's Wild Ride is. And it's an opening day tradition. You probably know that this is Max's favorite ride in the park. And we are going to jump aboard a motor vehicle with J. Thaddeus Toad on our way to nowhere in particular. And, you know, chaos ensues, which tracks for it being Max's favorite ride. Really appreciate Mr. Toad's sense of decorating. He's got the Starstruck thing going on for a Zetus Lapidus, our podcast reference. And by that, I mean he decorates with his own face everywhere, much like the parents of Christopher Wilde. I appreciate that. I think more people should decorate their homes with busts and carvings and portraits of their own faces. You know who else does it? A woman of exquisite taste, Joan Calamezzo from Pawnee.
Say what you will about Joan, but she knows how to decorate a bedroom. Wow.
God.
Brazos, si piernas dentro del vehículo.
That is all.
No trip to Disneyland is complete without a quick trip to hell. And it's just such a cuckoo bananas ride, and you have to ride it. It's just a treasure. Now we're headed to, you guessed it, another quintessential nostalgic Fantasyland ride that doesn't have a height requirement nor a lightning lane. And I think this one's my favorite. Snow White's Enchanted Wish, an updated version of an opening day attraction based on the original animated full-length feature film from Walt Disney. And I remember riding this one, the Disney World version as a kid, and being absolutely terrified of it. And it still has the very spooky moment where the witch turns around. But when they reopened after the Panini, they added some updated touches. But there's some updated bursts of technology throughout it that just breathe a little bit of new life into it. This, in my opinion, is how they should refurbish all old things, because you still, again, feel like it's classic nostalgia, but you also just get some little elevated touches, and it's truly magical.
On your way now. Escuchen, para que tengan pies y piernas dentro del deseo.
At this point, it's about 9:15. We have ridden 5 Disneyland Fantasyland attractions in an hour and 15 minutes, which is nuts. And it's already starting to get busier. These lines are starting to get longer. Very productive morning thus far. I think we've earned a coffee. And for said coffee, headed into Red Rose Tavern. This is a Beauty and the Beast themed quick service restaurant, and they have cold brews. Now, Disneyland is known for having different flavored cold brews. They'll do seasonal ones and rotate them around. And here they have one. It's like mildly sweet. Some of them are way too sweet for me, but I went ahead and mobile ordered it, and I just clicked I'm here. So I'm gonna go pick that up before headed somewhere else for a real breakfast treat. Cold brew acquired. This is the Tavern cold brew. It comes with caramel and creamer, but I asked for no creamer since it makes it a little too sweet. It's still a little sweet because the coffee's pre-batched with the caramel in it, but I like to stir it up, and then it's not too bad. There's a little cinnamon in it too, which I really like. And while they do serve breakfast in there, and I've heard good things about the breakfast sandwich and the plant-based breakfast, there's a special Disneyland breakfast that runs on a limited time only, so we're gonna see if we can go get it. Okay, y'all, and this card only, directly across from Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, They serve what is quite possibly the best theme park breakfast of all time. Unless you count Dollywood's cinnamon bread, which I count that as an all-the-time food, so. This is the breakfast chimichanga location, and they are only served till 11 a.m. or while supplies last. And on a busy Disneyland day, that can go within the first hour. I talked to a cast member yesterday who said they'd been having them for about the first hour and a half the park is open, so I'm here a little bit before 9:30, hoping the supply has held out. Also, according to the cast member, this is the only place in either park that you can get it. So fingers crossed. Here she is in all her glory. Also, that cart sells Topo Chico with a twist of lime, which is my favorite bubble water, so really things are going well right now. Disneyland, one of their famous cart foods is a chimichanga, and they serve that at several carts around the parks, and it's got beans and meat in it, and it's delicious, and you gotta get this red salsa. But again, only at that cart do they also serve a breakfast chimichanga, and it's got eggs and sausage in it. She asked me if I wanted to upgrade to the green salsa, the tomatilla salsa, for $1.50, also only available with the morning. I've never had this before, so obviously I'm worth it. I'm gonna spend that $1.50 to give it a whirl, but you also have to pick up, this is at the condiment station, this picante sauce. I'm drooling right now. Cheers. It's perfection. You got this crispity, crunchy fried shell on the outside, and then you've got sausage, cheese, egg, and potatoes on the inside. I'm gonna add a little bit of this green salsa. Like a medium level heat, but it's bright and fresh, and it's like balancing out all the savory heartiness of the rest of the food. You got like saltiness from the meat, and then like the cheese. It's just classic breakfast food served in the most delightfully fun way, this shell, and it is truly the perfect way to end this rope trap video. Like 5 rides in Fantasyland, a coffee, and a breakfast chimmy. Is there a better way to start the day? Well, friends, at this point, it's just about 10 a.m., which means that beautiful sweet spot for the rope drop in the morning is over. At this point, it's actually not a really busy day here, despite being a weekend, so I'm very confused. So the lines aren't super long in the park, but things like Peter Pan's Flight already at 40 minutes. A lot of the other Fantasyland rides we did are at 15, 20 minutes, and the fact that we didn't wait longer than 10 minutes to ride any of those 5 attractions, the most we've ever done in a rope drop video, is amazing, and I highly recommend, if those attractions are on your list while you're at Disneyland, get them done in the morning. Again, they don't have Lightning Lane. You can knock out of a bunch of them, because even if they are only 20, 30 minutes, that adds up. That's 2.5 hours in line, and we did all of those in about an hour. And then, like I said, as a Genie Plus user, I'm gonna be stacking for things throughout the day. I've already got 2 stacked, Hyperspace Mountain as well as the Matterhorn, and I'm gonna continue using Genie Plus throughout the day. Alan and I did a Genie Plus video last time we were at Disneyland, so check that out if you're coming here. It breaks down how much easier the system is to use here, best ways to use the system, all of our tips and tricks, breaks down everything you need to know. So if you're coming out here, highly recommend checking that one out. But I just had the best morning here at the happiest place on earth, especially got that tomatilla salsa. It changed my life. So make sure you get your breakfast chimmies early. Also, just as another pro tip, a lot of characters seem to hang out in Fantasyland in the mornings. We've seen Captain Hook, we've seen Mary Poppins and Bert, Cinderella. So if you're into characters, keep an eye out for them roaming out here. And until next time, friends, make sure to rate, review, subscribe, follow us on social, come hang out with the Mam Fam in Discord, go check out our other rope drop videos. We've done one at DCA, we've done one in the Walt Disney World parks, Universal Orlando parks. And until next time, friends, I'm Molly, and it has been so magical. Bye!